Kagali wakes without ceremony, without prophecy, without pain, just the dull realization that something fundamental has gone missing. Consciousness returns, but certainty does not. Memory stutters, power feels hollowed out, and somewhere far away, a man named Lieutenant Kondo has died, taking with him the invisible chains that once ruled her will. The snap is not audible, but it is absolute. One moment, she was a weapon dragged across a battlefield by Feldway's hand. The next, she is awake in a world she does not recognize, standing on ground that does not belong to any sky she has ever seen. The hook is quiet, and that is what makes it dangerous. Her first instinct is not panic. Kagali has never survived by indulging in panic. She survives by observing, by inventorying the damage, by asking one simple question: what has changed? The answer comes too quickly. Everything. The air is wrong. The space feels sealed. And when she turns, there is a familiar figure slouched nearby, posture careless, presence lazy in a way that should not be trusted. Deeno greets her, the way one greets an inconvenience that decided to live. He uses a name she abandoned long ago, Kazalim, and in doing so reminds her that nothing here is accidental. Names still have weight. History still matters, even here. And then there is Yuuki. Yuuki Kagurazaka sits there as if the world owes him nothing, and he agrees. His presence is more alarming than Deeno's. Kagali understands immediately why. She is free. He is not. Whatever control once bound her has snapped with Kondo's death, but Yuuki remains caged, not by Kondo, by the one who gave Kondo the leash in the first place. That realization forms the loop. Someone out there can lend domination like a tool. Someone can bypass a body that negates skills, overwrite a will that should be untouchable. And if Yuuki can be controlled, then no one is safe. Not demons, not monsters, not those who believe themselves exceptions to every rule. Deeno names the place without ceremony, the Celestial Palace. Not a metaphor, not a title, a location. A world that exists adjacent to all others and yet belongs to none. An origin point, the kind of place that should only exist in myth, whispered alongside the name of Veldanava, the Star King Dragon, who shaped existence itself. Kagali understands the implication immediately. This is not a prison in the conventional sense. There are no guards, no chains, no threats shouted across corridors. This is worse. This is containment by inevitability. A sealed world that does not decay, does not change, does not allow escape, because escape was never part of its design. The garden never withers. The fruit never rots. Time itself has been smoothed flat, and in the center of this perfect stillness stands a white castle that does not need to prove its authority. It simply exists, and everything else orbits it. Kagali tests the rules. Warp magic fails. Coordinates are meaningless here. Power without direction is just noise. Deeno confirms what she already suspects. A key exists, but not for her. Knowledge exists, but not for sharing. The gate at the edge of the world remains closed, not locked, but indifferent. The loop tightens. Even her children, Footman and Teare, return to her side only because she calls them. They had been standing behind her the entire time, invisible not because of stealth, but because the rules of this place allowed it. Killing mode cancelled, obedience restored. And yet, Kagali feels no comfort. Strength without purpose is decoration. Loyalty without agency is tragedy. Then the disturbance arrives. Gnome enters like someone who believes the world owes him obedience. His presence is dense, spiritual, overwhelming to anyone who measures worth by raw force. He looks at Kagali the way one looks at a tool that has outlived its usefulness. And that is exactly what she is to him. A tool. Gnome speaks of incarnations, of bodies, of vessels. He wears Vega's flesh like borrowed armor, regenerated and refined through magicule saturation. Kagali listens, calculates, dissects. Vega was never just muscle. He was research made flesh. A being whose cells could rebuild endlessly, whose severed parts could become monsters of their own. A catalyst. Gnome is not a demon. Not quite an angel either. A mystic, a demi-spiritual life form that needed matter to stabilize power. Eat enough, absorb enough, and divinity takes shape. The design becomes clear. The Walking Dead Kagali created under compulsion were not mistakes. They were prototypes, bodies without will, perfect foundations for possession. Footman and Teare are not just servants. They are potential vessels. The payoff threatens to reveal itself too early. Gnome overreaches. He belittles. He asserts dominance. He forgets one crucial rule: never test a weapon without understanding its edge. Footman moves, and the fight ends before it begins. What follows is not a battle, but a demonstration. Punches that erase arrogance, blows that teach humility through pain, an EP count that means nothing when applied without understanding. Footman fights like something that was never meant to lose. Gnome regenerates, yes, but regeneration is not victory. It is delay. And delay is meaningless when stamina is the target. Teare watches, smiling, waiting her turn. Kagali watches too, and feels nothing resembling hope. Even if they destroy Gnome, it changes nothing. Angels do not die the way mortals do. Mystics return. Incarnations can be rebuilt. The gate remains closed. That is when the real presence arrives. The air bends. Death presses inward, not violently, but absolutely. The gate opens, and three figures step through with the ease of beings who do not consider resistance relevant. At their center stands Zarario. Zarario does not shout. He does not threaten. He judges. And judgment, when delivered by something ancient and certain, requires no volume. Gnome collapses, not physically, but existentially. His mistake was not failure. It was forgetting his place. Zarario's verdict is surgical. Personality erased. Core overwritten. A lightning flash called Jupiter Flash that does not destroy the body, but deletes the self. Kagali understands immediately what she is witnessing. This is not power meant for conquest. This is authority meant for order. Zarario was never fighting seriously in Ramirez's labyrinth. Ramirez was a stage, not a threat. The comparison forms unbidden in Kagali's mind. This man stands in the same conceptual tier as Guy and Milim, not because of raw strength alone, but because reality adjusts itself around them. This is the payoff. Kagali expects execution, or enslavement, or oblivion. What she receives instead is indifference. Zarario has no need to punish her. Her role is complete. The vessels are prepared. The experiment succeeded. She is no longer relevant as an enemy. Relevance in this world is mercy. She speaks anyway. About Vega. About greed. About desire embedded at the cellular level. Zarario listens. Not because he must, but because information, even from tools, can still be useful. He acknowledges the flaw, discards the method, adjusts the plan. Footman, in proving his strength, has unknowingly volunteered his body as something far more dangerous than a clown. And Kagali understands the final truth. There is no rebellion here, no escape arc waiting off-screen. The Celestial Palace is not a dungeon to be cleared. It is a staging ground, a place where gods prepare to walk again. When Zarario turns toward the castle and speaks of Veldanava, the weight of that name settles over everything. This is not occupation. This is inheritance. Kagali follows because there is nothing else left to do. And somewhere behind them, Deeno laughs, lazy and unafraid.